welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
Today, Beth is hidden by this nice, I love this
Tier
little
tray.
tier tray. And all of these berries that Eve has made. And these little pumpkins. They're so cute. Oh, and some thread. If this was in my house, my cats would come and take them for toys. Like, and you'd see them walking around.
I just didn't take that off.
Oh, that little
With the
flamingo.
beads.
Yeah.
I saw it gotten on the other shop.
Well, we're going to move it because I guess you want to see Beth. What do you mean?
Not necessarily.
Just kidding.
The only thing about
But it's so pretty.
having the mirrors that it hides all the crap I,
I know,
have.
you always say that.
All the
Hides my
crap I
crap.
have.
Hides my crap. But we like to have it hiding you for a minute. We got to hide Beth all the time.
Well, I was going to come and just put them in here in a pile, but they were already on that, and I was like, I'll just move it.
It's nice. Just checking. I was like, I didn't check these before when I bought them today. Like, is it really Diet Coke? How are you all? It is already November. I don't know what happened.
Off the top of our show, I wanted to say that our apologies to our winners from last week. We just now got around to we got all the addresses. We got all 4 addresses, and but we hadn't sent anything out yet, so it'll come out.
A lot of my fault because I just finished these like literally before I walked out the door. My life is crazy, as we know, and I was like, okay, I need to make these. I was going to make it last night. I'll tell you why I didn't. And so I got up early this morning and I made these 4 coasters for you. And that is for our viewer Radiant. They're coming. So part of it was my fault and part of it was their fault. But anyway, they will be mailed out very soon. And I don't know what Eve's doing now.
Dropping things.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Anyway, it's November. I cannot believe it. And I'm starting to think about like...
Beth and I already did the Thanksgiving shopping except for the stuff that can't be bought early.
Yeah, that's nice. I was at... any of you know when Costco puts their turkeys out? I was at Costco yesterday. No, 2 days ago, I think. 2 days ago.
What?
What?
Oh, there it is.
Anyway, I was at Costco 2 days ago, and I was like, do you have turkeys? And this guy was like, yeah, they're right over here. And he showed me the very small area of the refrigerator case, and it had pre-brined turkeys, which interested me. I was like, oh, because I like to brine my turkeys, and it was pre-brined. And I was like, that's interesting. They were $4 a pound. And like normal mid-sized looking turkey was like $80.
Oh
and
my
I'm
God.
like, is that right? And I took my calculator out. Yeah, $4 times 4 whatever times however many pounds the turkey was. And I'm like, oh my God.
Why do you want a fresh
No.
one so badly?
No, it's just not, it's not that. It's just that I wanted, because you don't make turkeys every year.
You don't want to have to thaw it.
It takes forever to thaw it.
And then your hands are really cold when you put it in.
And then you have to make sure it's completely thawed before you can even brine it. So then you have to plan your, like,
Yeah.
like...
However many days it is.
And then whatever it tells you, it's never really true because you're still pulling large chunks of ice out of it.
Yeah, when I made the turkey here, it was like, my hands are cold.
I know. So I want a fresh one this year. I want to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
uh,
but so anyway, I was like, and so I said, well, last year you had like a whole case of fresh turkeys. When does that happen? He goes, I didn't work here last year. I don't know. I'm like, could you go ask your boss? But I didn't say that. I was like, okay, I'm sure I'll be back to Costco. Anyway, but we'll talk about that more later.
As an aside about grocery stores and employees, there is an employee at our Fry's, and I mean, he's got long hair and, generally kind of like pulled back like this, and you always see him working very hard, this guy. And he's not my age, but he's close, And he's the only one I ever see just like out there just really doing stuff. Because that's the way it is at businesses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I went to get some, I use Lactate, and it's a carton, not a jug. And I pulled one out, and I'm like, there's milk dripping out of this carton.
Ew.
And I looked around, I didn't see an employee. So I just kind of put it back, but tilted on the bottom shelf, tilted so that it wouldn't drip into their thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Tilted with the back end up. And I said, because I couldn't find an employee, I looked around, I couldn't find an employee. And lo and behold, that same guy, the one that
That you always see.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this milk is leaking. You know? Yeah. It's always just one person doing
Yeah.
all the work.
Okay, so we're ready to start?
Yeah.
We're getting into our...
And yeah,
It's
we do
stories.
pre-stories. It's all right. It's all right. Introductory stories. It's okay.
Well, I'm kind of going to have a story here too. So I know I went first last week, but I'm going first again because I have been busy. So I finished this bag, and it is quilted, and I think you bought that, but I stole it.
Oh,
It's got this really cute camper charm,
That's so cute.
and it has a little
no,
notions pouch with a little camper
Little
charm.
camper. Oh my gosh. Oh, because the fabric is campers. That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
And those of you who've been
Is
with us
it?
a long time
Oh, yeah.
might remember this fabric.
yeah. Because I showed this when I was making it, which was in summer
2021, we think.
2021, 2022. See, because I don't make these like this with the zipper on top anymore. So anyway,
It's been a while.
and I'll tell you why I finished this, but I have not put it on the Etsy shop because I've been very busy, mostly going to appointments, running around grocery stores, you know. So this quilted bag, it's completely quilted. This fabric that's back here is what's inside, and it's got a zipper on top.
oh, I see. It does.
Yeah.
That's
It
cute.
is adorable. It's so beautiful, and the what is
Nice
that
and
called?
thick.
The pattern of the quilting is like a braid or something. It's like a braid, like a friendship bracelet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Something
don't
like
remember what it was called, but yeah, I saw Missouri Star was doing it where they did this pattern down the sides of a quilt. And I said, I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I can do
I
that.
remember we talked about how you were going to incorporate it into the bag,
Mm-hmm.
and you did it diagonally, and I think it's so
It's so
beautiful.
nice.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Now, ask me if I remember how I did it.
You've slept.
It's a one-off.
You've slept since then.
It's a one-off because you can't remember how it
Well,
happened.
actually, I really love this bag. I would like to do this again with other patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not a person that usually likes flowers. So when I bought floral patterns on stuff, I don't buy dresses with floral patterns, you know, that kind of thing. Well, okay, I have bought some, but overall, it's not my thing. So when I was looking at this, they has so many of the. I made it from a layer cake, and it has
Which is a package of 10-inch squares. Just-
right. It had so many of them that were just flowers, like this black with the flowers on it, or this green with pink with little bitty flowers. And I wasn't really attracted to those. But they were part of the layer cake, and they went together, and so I used all of them. Now, some of them are like this, it has a whole bunch of little campers, and this one over here is campers like in nature.
Trees
Okay.
and flowers.
Yeah. So when I took it out, I was like, that's really floral and it's really pretty. So I don't know if my tastes are changing. Or having not seen it in a while, I was like,
I'm overwhelmed by how beautiful it is.
I was like,
honestly.
That's so pretty.
And you know what I imagine? I imagine you pack that full of your project when you go camping next summer, and you sit in the woods and you use your camping bag,
And for those of
cross-stitch.
you that notice that the campers in this are upside down, I made this I made a big long strip of this braided fabric. I made a giant strip and then I cut it to use it. And I had some left over, but I wanted it going like this, not like this. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's upside down. And FYI, it wasn't a mistake. It was just why I did it that way. So there's that bag set. And
A couple years old, finally finished.
yeah, but it's
Did you
still
say
pretty.
why
I
you
haven't
delayed?
yet.
Oh.
I haven't yet. So this one I also found partially finished. It was all cut out,
That's so cute.
and it has
I
giant
love
peppermints
it.
for charms.
Aww.
And the handles are
Candy canes.
candy canes. Yeah. And there's candy cane fabric on the inside, I think.
Surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Candy canes on the inside. So I took it out and I was like, why didn't I finish this? This was done. Completely done. And, well, so was that other little one. And the zipper was put in on top. I was like, why didn't I finish it? It's like one long seam worth, short of being done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to put this part on bottom, but
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat down to start working on it. I was like, oh, I know why. I had sewn the zipper in upside down. And I just was like, I guess I didn't feel like ripping it out.
You got mad and put it in timeout and forgot it was
I
there.
forgot it was there.
I did that once to a child, though.
I remember. Poor Eli.
I was pregnant, and Eli was misbehaving, and I was laying down in bed. I was just resting, and the cat was sitting by me, an old kitty that we no longer have, and he used to like to smack the bed and scare the cat, and I would always scold him, "Don't do that. It's not nice." And so he did that, and the cat ran away. And I said, "Eli, that was not nice. You go sit in the no-no chair," which was by the front door. I said, "You go sit in the no-no chair." And so he's like, okay. And he walked out of the room, and my pregnant self, I fell asleep. And I woke up, I don't even know now to this day how long it was, but I'm sure it wasn't very long. But I woke up and I was like, because I didn't want to be asleep while he was awake. You know,
Right.
you don't do that when
Right.
your kids are little. That's how bad things happen. So I got up and I was like, Eli? Eli? Where are you, Eli? And I look in his room, he's not there, and I hear this little voice, I'm in the no-no chair. He had gone, and he was still sitting in the no-no chair, just waiting for me to wake up from my nap. So we all put things and people in timeout that we forget about. So don't feel bad, Eve.
And so I also found this bag that's all cut out, the interfacing's on it.
What's the fabric?
It's
Oh, that's really
I
pretty.
don't think I've ever seen that.
Christmas trees.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
cute.
it has the same candy cane fabric. And I had already sewn the handles.
Why'd
And
you put that one in timeout?
I think because that one was in timeout, I just stopped.
Oh, I see.
So I have everything ready to go, right? Except I needed to choose a zipper and put it together, right? Why was it there? Okay. So this goes this way, sorry. I have to find my zippers and put them back where they belong. So So there was that. And I was like, holy cow. And then
Oh my gosh.
there was...
Wait, there's more.
What did Mother used to say? When you clean, you find treasures?
Yeah, when you find out why I was cleaning.
Oh no.
Okay. Then this... The fronts, the tops of the bag. I have that. And
That's cute.
for the notions pouch. I didn't have the back. I mean, the other rest of the fabric cut, which I did.
That
that's
is
really cute.
beautiful.
Which I did with this.
Oh.
It looks like postcards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
this is
know
right there, postcard.
what fabric I purchased
Cut
to do with it,
Oh, a
but
contrast?
I use this big snowflakes.
Oh man, that is so pretty, Eve.
So that's ready for me to put together. I haven't chosen zippers on that one, but you know, oh well. I was wanting to finish the ornament that I made for Naomi for Christmas. And I was trying to figure out how to cover the outside part of the hoop because I didn't want it brown. And I was like, well, if I paint it, will the paint stick to that? Because it's plastic, right? Which is why people use wood, I guess. And then I was like, well, I could glue ribbon to it. And everything I tried, I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. So I said, you know, I could make a casing out of fabric. And
That's ambitious. Ooh,
I,
okay.
I wrapped a hoop. A plastic
You mean
hoop
sew
like
a
that.
casing?
I made a casing, but I wanted to find a fabric that I could use. And I didn't feel like if I cut out of it, it was gonna, you know, waste fabric. So I wanted to kind of use a scrap, but something that kind of went with it. And I found, you know, the quilted bag, that white dots. I thought, well, that fabric alone could kind of be Christmassy. And I found a strip of that, and I made a casing, and it took me forever to turn it around.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but you know,
You
I
must
did it.
love me.
No.
She
So
said no. Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
so
Wow.
I put it on there, and then I stitched it in back and pulled it in so that it would tighten up on here, and then I stitched. And yes, she's seen it, but she can't have it yet. Beth is thinking that maybe I should take it apart and.
Well, I didn't
finish it.
understand what you said about it. I thought you had I didn't realize you had covered the
So
thing. And
I had
sewn into that.
centered this several times, and then when I finished it and I was gluing this on, I looked at it and went, "It's too far that way, and it's pinching up here." I was like, "Do I care? Do I want to take it apart?" No. So
I love you, but I don't love you that much.
I'm not sure if I'm going to put any more on here, and I haven't decided if I'm going to put something so it'll stand this way or hang. I don't know.
It'll
But
be a surprise.
it'll be a surprise. I'm not going to show anybody. But
That's
I was
beautiful.
looking for this fabric, and that's how I found. And I just kept pulling stuff. I have pairs of fabric back here, stacks of stuff that I was like, and I have this, and I have this, and I have, because I was like, I need to quit buying fabric and doing nothing with it. So now you've seen your Christmas present.
Oh, that's
But you saw me sewing it anyway. So. Okay, so those, the 2 bags that are finished, hopefully will be on the Etsy shop by the time you see this. But I have an afternoon that is full of unpleasant things, so I don't know. But I did a tiny bit of work on my WIP-GO project for November, and To All a Good Night by Stitching with the Housewives. And I'm doing it on 14 count Ada that I dyed myself. And I haven't done tons more, but I did the white around this snowflake and part of a D. So, you know.
Any progress is progress.
I worked on it some. But I was working on this other stuff, and I was like, it's taking more time than I wanted it to. And then I'm going to tell Naomi to put up the picture from here of the Holly Noel by Dawn Frisk, I guess is how you say her name. Friske, of the Mindful Needle. And this is how far I've gotten on this, and this is what I'm working on right now.
That was good.
I thought I was going to finish this last night, and then I went, oh, I have to work on my temperature chart. So I didn't even I picked it up and then put it right back down. And then,
No bark here. No bark.
where's the other one? Oh, it's clear, so I didn't see it.
No bark.
And I did more work on this.
Wow.
This is taking forever.
Yeah, the plastic canvas.
But it's cute.
It is very cute.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that it looks thick.
It looks
very thick.
Yeah.
You like puffy. It looks puffy. Yeah.
That's really
I think it'll be really pretty when it's done, but, you know, I might get it done
Labor
Christmas
o'
Eve.
love. Christmas Eve.
You'd be like, what is it? In yours, mine, and ours. So the father's in the closet putting things together Christmas morning.
Yeah. And then, lastly, my 2023 Temperature SAL by Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts. Oh, the 2023 Snowman is by Annika Bolansky of Sweet Annette. And I was noticing today, I was remarking on it to Beth. The above photo is a representation of what your piece might look like once completed. Temperatures will vary based on your location, and certain colors may be used more than others. I'm like,
Think so? Did you get any colder colors this week?
yes, but I was thinking, because I bought all the colors that it called for, even though I knew that it's not going to get cold enough for blues and purples. Mm-hmm. Well, probably not. This year has been weird. But I was like, there's blues and purples in the flowers down here.
Yes.
So
And I love those flowers.
yeah, that's what made it special. That's what tipped it over the edge for me to buy it, was the
I love that part at the bottom.
making it more than just
More than
temperatures.
just the temperatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have finished October and started November. Yay! And the last week of October, we got a green one.
Oh, wow.
And then it went back up to yellow and orange. But, you know, it's
Let
still
me see.
cooler temperatures.
Oh yeah. That's one green thing.
So it hovered around 88 most of the week. It just had that one day that was less than that. That's how we got the green one. But it's been really pleasant. Cold if you're out in the morning, but you know, warm during the day, not hot, warm. So I've been enjoying this weather when I do go outside. I don't go outside very much, but when I do. Anyway, I'm finally done.
Do you want to go next? Because I'm halfway through
Okay.
my row here, and
Next.
it's hard to talk about.
Pull this over. Okay, so the end of October, I was last week. I was working a little bit on this little kit from Praiseworthy Stitches, the Little Witch ornament kit, It comes with all the stuff. It comes with the black ornament shape and the rickrack and stuff like that. And so I finished it. I had almost finished it last week, and I finished it. I want to say Saturday night, but I added this little wand in her hand here because and there's I did the little backstitch bats and there was a few what do you call it, French knots that I did, colonial knots, and her buckle and things like that. So a little bit of backstitching, but her hand, her right hand was just kind of up in the air. It was just the two little X's for her palm, but her hand was just up in the air. So I backstitched a little wand in her hand.
That's cute.
So
That's funny.
So it was. I started it Friday and finished it Saturday night. So I didn't FFO it, but whatever. But I have all the little pieces for the kit. So that's from Crazy with These Stitches. So I did that, and the other thing I did was. One of my new starts last month was the Little Brown Bat, which is the October design from The Year in the Woods by Cottage Garden Samplings. So I to prepare for the next one, which is the Beaver for November. I went ahead and was working on the border, and I'm having a little bit of angst about the border because I was, I pulled out the first one that I did, the number one, which was the fox. So I pulled it out to double check the numbers of the border, how many things I had to do. And I'm like having a little bit of a brain puzzle because when I started that border on the vertical line, it's just like 4 stitches, 4 out and in like that, zigzaggy. And excuse me. So on the first border that I did for the fox, on the vertical line, I started, on the inside, and then the next 4 were on the outside. But all the other ones I did, well, on the other side, on the this is the left hand, this is the right hand. So on the right hand vertical, it goes the other direction because of how many I had to do across the top. So it goes in toward the design. Right, I think, or maybe out, I don't know. But and then I'm thinking, is it gonna, because it'll still fit. But my original thing with the fox was to start it, to give it a 1 square of space, so that the design doesn't bump up against the border, so that there's just a 1 stitch gap of the border. But I'm just like having a major confidence issue now about, it's like, as I did the other borders on the other designs, I'm like, did I do it right? Am I doing it right? And so I don't know. I'm just like having a math crisis about it. But anyway, so I continued the border so that I can start the Beaver, which is the next one in that series. And then I also did, I'm going to take this out because I don't think I had shown it. Maybe I had, I don't know. I finished, no, I don't think I did. I finished the second one in this Black Cat Season series. So the first one, it's kind of wrinkled up. I didn't iron it. But the first one is this Midnight Walker. And then I had done the border. And then and the second one is Black Cat Singing. So all I had last week to finish was the fence. So I finished the fence. And then I did the next border, which is these little kitties down here.
That's cute.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll show a picture.
Yeah. But so I finished the second one, and I did the border so that I can start the third one, which is, it's called Blackest Cat. May the blackest cat you've ever seen make you smile on Halloween. So that's the next one. And I'm hoping it'll go pretty quickly because there's the 3 cats across the top, and then there's all the wording, and that goes pretty quickly. And there's a handful of little stars, and then the cat's feet and tail at the bottom. So I'm hoping that goes pretty quickly. But that's going to be my next new start. And now that I've taken it all apart, I made a mess. And then for my WIP-GO, my first WIP-GO, which is the number 3 WIP-GO thing. This is the Peacock, which is this one here. This is a design work kit. The designer is Nicola Gregory. It's really pretty. So the kit came with white Ada, which I just re-dyed this pinky color, and that's it's upside down. So I'm working on the peacock's tail, and I was just thinking, I kind of want to do the upper, continue it up here, but it's the colors are very complicated, so I'm like, maybe I'll get to it. But the horrible thing was that. It's hard to tell the difference because you can't really see, unless I would just do it side by side, like where it was last week before I started, But all of this outer stitching on this little ring, and then I did some here and up here. So I did all of this. And then I found out I did it the wrong color. And there was no way to really fudge it. So I took it all out. So I started on Wednesday, and I stitched away. And then
you're like, I'm making so much progress.
Yes, I had done all of that color, on like I said, on the outside of this flower, and on the outside of this one, and the outside of that one, and then the outside of this one, and I had done it all, and then I realized, and when I said, okay, I'm going to do the next color, and I was looking at it and going, wait a minute, because what I had done, I was trying to decide when I started, should I do this symbol or that symbol, and I went back and forth. And then I finally decided on the one symbol.
But
I got the color
thread.
for the other. Yeah.
Oh no!
So I was like, ugh. So yeah. So I spent most of Friday, or most of Thursday, undoing everything I had done. All of it.
Oh man.
All of it.
Oh,
like
a whole flower. A whole flower's worth.
Oh yeah, because I had used, I think, all 6 lengths, because I used the loop method especially for DMC, and so I had pulled the length off of the little. It came with a little card. What do you call it? Floss drop, kind of card. And so I pulled the length off of that and used all 6 strands doing all of this, and I had to take them all out. So I was like, ah! But so then, I did so I redid them all with this lighter color blue, because what I was using was kind of a medium blue in between, but that's the color that goes like in the middle of these flowers. But so I had to redo them all, and and when I went to redo it, I did it a little differently than I had done before. So I ended up with one line of maybe 5 stitches, and I had to start a new thread for that. It was like I had gotten all the way around, but the even playing thread chicken, I was like, yeah, I can't do that. It's like I didn't have enough for all 5 stitches. But so now I'm working on this. So I'm wanting to I thought, well, it's nice. It would be nice to put the head on this peacock, because right now I'm working down here and on the tail, and it's just a bunch of, swirly stuff that you can't really tell that there's a peacock attached to that. It's just looks like a bunch of little flowers or something. And so I want to, work my way up maybe and put at least part of this top of this peacock in just because I don't want to do.
Because you're tired.
Yes, I'm tired of this.
Tired of
blobs.
making flowers in the wrong color.
Yes, but
That's why I switch back and forth from a snowflake to
a
holly.
Yeah,
or words or whatever. It's like I got to do something different.
Can't do that knitting. Whatever's next is what you have to do.
Yeah,
No matter how painful.
Or you can start another project.
Yeah. That's true. I do that too.
So I think that's all of me. Yes.
All right. So, as you may remember, I am working on this Yara shawl by Natasha Hornby. I finally learned her name. Aren't you proud of me? And it is giant. Up. Uh-oh. What is going on? It's giant. Here, hold. So this is up. Oh, that's the back. Here, hold this end. Don't see the little green thing. Don't pull it off there. So this is the top of the shawl, and this is going to be the bottom of the shawl. But I'm working in this direction now. I just started. I finished the what they're calling broken seed stitch here, and now I've started a mosaic pattern which will be similar to this area, but it's going all the way across, and I'm at 300 and 340 stitches across, which is, it just takes forever. And did I talk about why I want to finish this?
Yeah, about go to
Because I'm going to Boston. Yeah. So I thought it'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
But then, I don't think I told you this. Hannah told me I had my lesson, and her teacher, she told her teacher I was coming, and she's like, and she wants to see you while you're here. And I'm like, I need to finish this shawl. It would be so perfect. It would be perfect. And it doesn't happen. It's okay. But it would be so great to walk in with that and say. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with that. So I'm taking it to work, because I didn't used to take it to work, because usually at lunch, well, my work days have gotten so busy lately that I don't do a lot of knitting, but I started taking this to work, and even if I do 2 rows at lunch, and it's helping. So I made it through all this part, and now I'm starting on the mosaic, and it's not too much more. But it feels like a lot because it just gets bigger. Every row, every 2 rows it grows. So, anyway, so that's what I'm trying to do. And I was like, I have all of November, and now here it is. What is today? The
5th.
The 5th already. So that's sad. And then last week I went to Joann's.
No, 4th. Today's the 4th.
Today's the 4th.
Saturday the 4th.
When
This
you're
will show on
viewing
the
it, it'll
5th.
be the 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week I went to Joann's looking for some bags for work, and then they had all the Christmas fabric on sale. And I was like, remember I talked about, so I'm going to put a picture here of my quilted coat that I made last year. I was very angry about the, what was it, Quilt Smart system that I used to make the blocks for this coat.
I think if you
remember
just made
that.
it yourself, it would be
If
easier.
I just made the Hunter Star the way Missouri Star did, I would have been done like that. and I
Same
would have been
here.
happy.
I would probably have finished best coat if I didn't have to try to figure
Quilt
out
Smart.
that stuff.
I did a whole video on this, so you can look in our history. I did a video on the Quilt Smart blocks, and I wasn't very nice. I was just really honest. As someone who sews, I found it to be just tripping
I think if
over
you
myself.
I think if you had never sewn, it would make it harder.
Yeah.
I think if you had never quilted, it would make it harder.
Because of the way, because what happens is, I think, in my opinion, you don't understand how quilt blocks go together. but if you're using the Quilt Smart, and they think that it's a shortcut, but it actually makes it harder. It makes it harder.
And you're limited to
I
the
think-
size of that Quilt
Right.
Smart. So I have to make it bigger, and it says if you need to make it bigger, just iron it together. I'm like,
yeah.
why when I have a sewing machine?
It was a struggle, and I think if you don't want to do traditional regular quilting and you're nervous about it,
Quilting as you go is the way to do it.
quilting
then.
as you go, or paper piecing.
Yeah.
I have some blocks I've done with the block is called Storm at Sea, which is my favorite quilting block, and Missouri Star doesn't have a Storm at Sea pattern, or I'd be using theirs. But I have a paper piecing block that paper piecing is really easy, way easier than Quilt Smart. And anyway, I made this coat. I love the coat, but because I didn't have more Quilt Smart packages, I didn't have enough of the blocks for the sleeves. That's why the sleeves are solid. Anyway, all that to say, I love that coat, but I thought to myself, wouldn't this look great in Christmas colors? And I thought I could just do a jelly roll strip top and use that for the fabric for the coat. You know, it's 2.5-inch strips, and you sew them all end to end, and then you fold it and you sew it again, and you fold it and cut it and sew it again and fold it and sew. So hopefully, although I saw someone on the Facebook group, the Missouri Star Facebook group, whose jelly roll turned into this long thing like this, and all the ends were like in similar places, and I'm like, I don't think you did that right. But anyway, because the very first quilt I ever made was Hannah's quilt, and I called it the Experiment, and it was a jelly roll race quilt, and the ends don't do that. So anyway, so I thought, well, I could do that and then cut the coat out of that with strips. And then I think I was saying how there's another pattern called I don't know what it's called, but it's by Three Dudes Quilting, which
love that pattern.
Three Dudes Quilt Shop doesn't exist anymore. But when it did, the guys that ran it came up with this pattern, and Missouri Star Quilt Company, they actually came to visit Three Dudes Quilting out here in Arizona. Jenny Doan did. But anyway, she did a tutorial on that pattern, and then her associate, I guess you could call him, Man Sewing, with, I can't remember his name.
He worked there for a while. He doesn't anymore.
Yeah. But Man Sewing did a really cool variation on the Three Dudes quilt. But what that is I think I talked about it last week. You do 3 strips this way, and then 3 strips. You do 3 strips, and you cut them into blocks. And then when you sew them together, right sides together like this. So 3 strips facing this way and 3 strips facing that way. And then you sew them all the way around the edges. And then you cut them in half diagonally. And what you wind up with is part of the square, the strips are going this way, and the other part they're going this way. And so it varies your strips in a really cool way. And then when you put the blocks together, it creates different, like a kaleidoscope kind of patterns.
You should put a picture here of
one.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because
it's hard to explain.
It's hard to describe.
So then I thought maybe I'll do that with fabric strips, and
it doesn't look hard.
No, it's not hard at all. You just have to sew strips together, cut them, turn them, sew them again. I mean, it's really easy, which is how Missouri Star Quilt Company does things. They put out patterns that are like that, very simple, so I was looking at strip sets on Missouri Star, and I liked some, didn't like others. What I like about a strip set is that you get, like Eve was saying, you get a whole variety in the pre-cut, a variety of a line that all goes together that maybe you wouldn't think to go put it together. You know, there's some sort of...
Or you wouldn't be attracted to otherwise.
Right. You know, and so that's why I really kind of wanted to go that way. And then when I was at the store, I thought, well, what if I got my own fabric, cut strips? I have that beautiful strip cutter
Yeah, that would work.
and so I just decided to go for it. And I decided to pick, I can't remember now, did I pick 5 or 4? I can't remember.
5, I think.
I think I picked 5. So I decided to buy fabric and cut it into strips and make it, so actually the blocks will all be a lot more similar. So it'll give a more uniform look to it. So I think I'll like it that way. So here's the lining fabric. It's just dots. And it's got a little bit of glitter in the silver. There's silver dots, and the silver dots are sparkle. So that's going to be inside the coat, which I think is going to be adorable. I don't know why I love lining so much. Okay. And then how many did I pick? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I did pick 5. So this is what's going to be a problem. I should have picked 6.
Well, then go get another one.
I will go get another one. Because if I'm sewing 3 and 3 and 3 and 3 and I have 5, this is what happened to me when I made, I should go get another one. Okay, I will go get another one. But the first one of them I got is this blue. It's pine cones. And I think the pine cones are big enough or small enough that a 2-inch strip will still show the pine cones. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
even if it doesn't, it's pretty.
Yeah, and then I got this black with pine and holly berries. And then I got this, and they all have some kind of sparkle to them. And then I got this white pine cones, white with silver-ish pine cones and holly.
I really like that. I'm gonna steal your fabric.
No,
Make some more
and then I
bags.
got this red poinsettia fabric, which also has. So all of these have the theme was it's all nature. It's not any like specifically Christmas. So actually, except for this and the fact that there's red and green, I could really wear it kind of all winter. But this is very Christmassy poinsettias, and this is what started it all.
How much did you get of each color?
No, yard and no. I can't remember. Yard and a half. I could tell you because I have the paper here. Or did I get 3/4?
Because you were doing quilt math?
0.750. That's 3/4 of a yard. I was doing quilt math, but I was looking at the coat yardage needs, and it
So
was
do you
only-
need this bag to go with it?
Yeah. So I think I needed, it was like 3 yards. And so I divided 3 yards by 5 colors and figured a yard and a half would, or no, 3/4 of a yard would probably do it. I don't know if that's going to work out or not. So we'll see. Because, I mean, if I cut into strips, and so, I mean, but 3/4 of a yard of fabric is still 3/4 of a yard of fabric, right? So it should work out. I don't know. I don't know how much, I don't know. Anyway, it's an experiment. But, so then I have to make the decision. Do I want to make this coat in time for the Christmas season? Or do I want to finish that shawl before I go to Boston?
I think you should finish the shawl.
I think I should finish the shawl because Christmas comes every year, as you say. And
Well, besides the fact that you may or may not finish that coat anyway.
right,
But you have a set goal for the thing.
right, and I'm planned to give original plan was to give it in May when I go for her come here, Rogue. When I go for graduation, the original plan was to give it in May.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
But May's the summer,
Yeah.
and she's not going to use that shawl till the fall.
especially
Anyway.
not there when it's so hot. And
So I thought, well, it'd be really nice to give it now as winter comes. But here is the set together, so you
Yeah,
can see
that's
how they
very
all go
pretty.
together.
that's gonna be pretty.
I think it's going to be nice. So they're all kind of Christmas botanicals is really, I guess, the theme you could say. Which won't be, because I didn't want any like little snowmen or gnomes or Santas. I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I wanted something that looked a little more
Grown up.
grown up, sophisticated. So yeah, I think I do need one more color. I think that would make my strips my strip brain happy, and I would be sure to have enough fabric.
Well, and you could have one that's a solid for the last one.
Maybe. I had enough trouble finding a fifth color, but
Like you could take a dark blue with nothing on it would look pretty, or even a white with nothing on it.
I don't know.
Color on color white.
Yeah.
Because that would go with everything.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe I do need another white.
Yeah, we did look at a white that was color on color.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of wanted to stay away from it. Remember, I was like, I don't want
Yeah.
white. I don't want color on color. Maybe I need another white because I only have dark,
Yeah.
and I don't have light.
Yeah.
So maybe, well, this can be a light actually,
It's
The
not
green.
really. Yeah, no.
but
You know, the best way to tell what value you're missing is take a picture with your phone
and turn it black and white.
and turn it black and white
Mhm,
and
mhm.
see what pops out at you as one of these things is not like the other.
Right. Maybe a. There was a really beautiful. What started the whole I want to get this done was there was a beautiful fabric. Remember the gray? It was like gray
Oh, yeah.
on gray, shiny, and it was like big. It wasn't really snowflakes, and it wasn't really poinsettias. I don't know what it was. It just looked like it looks like wrapping paper.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a grayish version. They had a blue version. They had a green version. But they didn't have a red version, remember?
Yeah.
Or if they had it, it was gone. So I kind of wanted all of those.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that gray
Mm-hmm.
would look good. Maybe I need one other light, like a light gray or a white-ish, to kind of go and see. Anyway, that's my new project. Maybe I'll be sewing it in December. Because it can kind of go for winter. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
Christmas. But my other coat certainly is all year because it's just blues and stuff. So anyway, that was my adventure last week. I went to Joann's and bought that. What if they'd let me take this in? They would if I have receipts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To
I think
match.
so. Yeah.
But I really love this lining fabric. I was thinking I could use the lining fabric, but it doesn't really go with
No,
yours.
you don't want the
But
lining
Isn't
fabric.
it cute? Dots. I don't know. I love polka dots. So I think really that's me. I did want to talk about one other thing. I always talk about how I make these coasters, but I wanted to explain how, if you guys want to make them. So, and actually I got this from a YouTube tutorial, so you can actually kind of search how to make quilted coasters. But what I do is take an 11-inch square piece of your cover fabric, and then about a 12-inch square of batting. So these are used with cotton batting, so they're very absorbent. So you do that, and then you take your your backing fabric, which is this little Arizona fabric, and you cut 5-inch squares. So what I just described will make 4. So you would cut 4 5-inch squares of your back fabric, and an 11-inch square of your front fabric. And then just the front fabric and the batting, you take it and you sew, pretend this is 11 inches, you sew a diagonal all the way across, and then in increments across this way, and then you take it and sew diagonally across this way. What I do is I start in the middle, and I made a little cardboard template. The lady in the video uses skinny painter's tape, so you could also do that. You put a strip of painter's tape along your center here and sew alongside it, and then just move the tape. I made a little cardboard template, and the reason I like the cardboard template is if you accidentally sew through it, it doesn't hurt your needle, because sometimes you wind up sewing the little edges. Anyway, so you do it this direction, and then you do it this direction, so that you basically have little squares of quilting. And the reason you do 11 inches is because the fabric always shifts when you are quilting. And the reason you make the batting bigger is that it always shifts when you can't make it the exact same size or it'll go off. So then you take the quilted top, and I cut it in half like that, and then I trimmed the batting and the edges off so that it was a 5-inch square, because if it's 11 inches you have about a half an inch on either side, right? So, and then you cut these down to 5-inch squares. Then you put them right sides together, the back, this back fabric, and your quilted top, right sides together, sew around the edge and leave an opening for turning. You turn it inside out, iron it, and just kind of fold those open edges inside. And then you just do a top stitching around the outside to close it up. And that's how I made that. Let me know if you'd like a tutorial. I'd be happy to make one. Make a tutorial video on that. So, I just wanted to explain that. And otherwise, though, that's me. I'm just a one-trick pony this week.
So
This show.
I have a story connected to a story from last week.
Okay.
I believe I mentioned that I could not make an appointment for a test that I was supposed to have because she was not allowed to schedule that.
Mm-hmm.
So I called on Monday or Tuesday because the PA for the doctor had called me wanting to schedule it, and I said they haven't called me back. They said they would, right? And she said, "Well, we'll give them a call
To schedule the surgery. The
PA called to schedule the surgery, and
but you had to have the test.
But I had to have the test first, and I was like, they won't call me back. And she said, well, we'll give them a call. And then she calls me back. She said, have you received a call yet? No. So I decided to call again. And they gave me a voicemail person. And I left another message. Still no call, right? So it's about time for me to do these other tests. I have to go today to go do that. And they want you to fill out some paperwork stuff for it online. On their, yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, when I got on there was a little chat with us button. So I clicked on it. And they're like, how can I help you? And I'm like, for some reason, I cannot schedule this test. And she went over a lot of stuff, and she says, yeah, I'm seeing that the something or other has to be the one to schedule it. That nobody else can schedule it, or something. I'm like, there's one person in the entire organization that can schedule this? Okay. So she wouldn't schedule it either. And I said, okay, I understand. I guess I'm just going to have to call my insurance company and see who else I could go to. And like that, it was scheduled. And soon. I mean, early next week.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I thought you couldn't schedule it.
Don't say anything.
No, I'm not saying anything. I just was like, come on.
Yeah.
And I didn't I wasn't saying any ugly words or anything. I just said, I guess I'm going to have to call my insurance company because I need to have this test done. And I had already almost decided that that's what I was going to do because there's other imaging companies. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if my insurance will take them, but if I'm having trouble getting imaging done, mm-hmm. They're going to say, they're either going to give them a call, if that's the only one they cover, or they're going to say, yeah, go to this other one and give me a name of somebody else to go to, right? Mm-hmm. But it's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
That one person in this whole organization is the only one that can schedule that particular test. Why? Why?
It's so weird.
And I think it had to do with, she said, well, your doctor is asking for, I don't know what. And I think it was that he wanted a particular person to read it. And the reason I think that is that a very long time ago, I had a lump removed.
Mm-hmm.
And to schedule, and then I had to have mammograms like constantly, and I didn't. My insurance wouldn't pay for them.
Mm.
They would pay for one a year, but they wouldn't pay for more. And I was like, huh. If I get cancer, won't that cost more?
You're right.
But, whatever. So I had to have somebody there who could read the images to tell if I needed to have further imaging done.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I had to go often. And so I kind of like, well, is it something like that? He wants somebody there who knows how to read the, whatever imaging properly to tell if there's anything going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that, but I didn't have that kind of problem scheduling mammograms.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I had to have it on a particular time and day, okay,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, the more I use Simon Med, the more I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
feel
probably will be calling my insurance company anyway and say, in future, can I go to somebody else?
Right.
Yeah, because
I feel you.
Because it is likely that at my age,
They almost have a monopoly around here. It seems like there's
it's
like
almost, it's almost.
so like you have no choices.
And they were giving me a list of things that I needed to have done before, after they schedule the procedure, after this test, that I have to have done in between this test and the procedure, right? And it's a big list. And I was like, yeah, she wanted to schedule it like next week.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So at least I got it scheduled, but I was like, I shouldn't have to say, I guess I'm going to call my insurance company.
Yeah.
Before you decide to actually schedule it.
Right.
Anyway,
Wow.
I found that amusing.
Oh my gosh. So last night, I have a great story, happy story to tell you. So this weekend we're playing the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto as one of the pieces on the program and the Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And I got a call, I do group sales, and I got a call a little while ago from a teacher. And she says, our students are studying, they're in middle school, and they're playing Beethoven's Fifth. It's just a string orchestra reduction. They're playing that, and so I want to take them to hear the real thing. And we do have a Beethoven's...
What a good teacher.
Yes, we do have a Beethoven's Fifth, like a school field trip that's like a whole program around the piece. But she's like, I think that might be a little bit like too young for them. Like she wanted them to actually just really hear the whole piece in its entirety. And so she's like, what are your prices? And and she told us that it's a Title I school. So and that is a school in a less affluent area, and many of the students are on free or reduced lunch, and so those schools get special dispensation in many cases. And so we have a very strong education and community engagement department. And actually our CEO says our symphony is one of the leaders in the country. He's like, I've never seen this much that you guys do. And that is really due to our wonderful director, and also our donors, like corporate and individual donors who give to our community engagement and education department. So, anyway, so she's like, we're a Title I school, and is there anything you can do? And I'm like, of course, I don't have that authority. We can do a 10% discount and a 20% discount, and then the lowest prices in the house are at the very back of the floor and at the very top of the balcony. And I recommended, I was like, as musicians, they may want to be in the balcony because you can see the whole orchestra, the sound is great up there, And she's like, I really, really want them to be up close to this. They're all string players, right? I really want them to be up close so they can see the bowings, so they can see the string players up close. Well, up close, price-wise, we don't have a lot of choice. And I was like, well, these are the prices. That's the best I can do. I said, but let me see what I can do. So I said, I'll call you back. So I went to my manager of marketing, and she and I went together to the education department, and our education director was like, absolutely, we can do that. So what they did is that the education department is subsidizing the cost of the tickets so that we can put them in a great place up close. So they just paid the student rush price, and one of the foundations that supports the education department is subsidizing the ticket costs. So we were able to put them like in rows 6 through 9, section B on the viola side. And I told them, you viola players, you're getting a treat because you're going to be sitting right in front of the viola section. And so they came last night, 28 students and then parents, and chaperones and the teacher. And we decided to plan a whole VIP experience for them. So we had a little sign made for them where we greeted them, and they loved that. They took pictures with the sign, and then I greeted them out front. We took them in, and then our CEO came and talked to them to tell them about how an orchestra isn't just the musicians, it's also the administration, marketing and development and operations and, all kinds of stuff that goes into it, and kind of how it works, and how, only half the revenue for an orchestra comes from tickets. So we need all the developmental support as well. And then also, of course, the education and community outreach department. So he really did a great job of explaining that to them, and then they got to hear the concert, and afterward, 2 musicians. So in each of our programs for our classics concerts, we feature 2 of our musicians in something we started called Every Seat Has a Story. And so their pictures are in the program. So there was one for last night, and then one for the next classics concert. So those 2 musicians that were in the book, because we do our program books like several concerts in each book, right? So each of those musicians came down, and they did a night after the concert. We had them there in the seats by themselves, and they did a Q&A, and the kids asked really great questions. And they were so well behaved. I sat right there with them, and they were so well behaved to the whole concert, and they got to ask really great questions. And then we kind of moved out for like an autograph session. So the musicians signed their pictures in the program books, and then we got some photos of them, and we gave them a little goodie bag with information about student rush pricing, so they can come back for that cost. And then they each got a voucher so that their parent or caregiver could come with them for free. So it was just a fantastically successful night, and I felt really, really good about it.
The teacher is amazing.
Yeah,
because
that's huge effort.
When you give a child the gift of music, it's more than just music,
right?
Especially if in their everyday life, and it works for sports and arts too, but my son likes to coach wrestling, and usually junior high. And he was coaching at a Title I school.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, some of these kids have horrible lives.
Mm-hmm.
And wrestling is an outlet for anger for them.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, they come up to me and tell me stuff. And so when you were talking, I was thinking about that movie with Meryl Streep, and I can't remember what it was called.
Music from the Heart.
I thought that might be it.
Yeah.
But how it doesn't matter if they go into music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, it was nice. Like, there were several kids who had never been, and several who had. Some of them, had just been playing for a very short time, and then some had been taking lessons and wanted to be a musician. Like, one of them told me, I said, so are any of you interested in going into music? Because, middle school's the time, if you're really serious,
Yeah.
the kind of the time you think about it. And and one of them was like, yeah, me. And I'm like, okay, well, what is your plan? And he said, well, I want to go to a university, or I think he said a college with a really strong music program, and I'm going to work really hard, and then hopefully get into the Phoenix Symphony. He said, and I'm like, you're so cute. So cute.
When one of the things I always said when I taught a couple years at a kindergarten and preschool. So we had kindergarten age to about 3, and and so I was hired to teach a music class. And I was like, I don't want to do this. At the time, I was working at Mother's Day Out, and and I took care of a set of triplets, like 3 days a week or something like that. And but the triplets were starting preschool. And so, the mother didn't need me to work, the way I was, and so I was looking around, and she said, "Well, there's a couple places that are hiring for music teachers, I guess." And somebody, no, a lady from my church who was a teacher at this preschool. It was like a church preschool. She said, well, they're looking for a music teacher. And so I was like, I don't know. I have I'm a musician, and I went to college to be a musician, to be a bassoon player, not to be a teacher. And so I was like, I don't know how to do that. But it was, just little kids, and I was like, oh, okay. So I ended up just teaching them songs, and I used to do because most of them didn't read yet. So to teach them the words of a song, I would draw pictures. So like we did Over the River and Through the Woods. So I would draw the horse knows what, I would draw a horse, I would draw the trees, I would draw a river,
Oh, I thought you said you couldn't draw.
Yeah. So I had I think I did it on a poster board finally, because at first, the first couple times I just did it, we had a chalkboard there in the classroom. So, I did it on the chalkboard, but then of course I couldn't, I didn't want to have to repeat all the drawings for all the words. So I did it on this poster. And I remember one of my little kids, she went to her father and she said, Daddy, will you draw Over the River for me? And he's like, what are you talking about? But anyway, I used to tell the parents, we did it like a concert at the end of the semester or whatever. And I think I also used to say this, I used to teach children's choir at my church also at the time. And I used to tell the parents, your kids are not necessarily going to grow up to be the next Mozart. They may not want that. But you give them this background in music, and whether they decide to go to become a musician or not, it is something that just informs their life. It gives them an outlet. It gives them some knowledge other than just, getting up and go to school every day, whatever. It gives them
An
something to do. Yeah, and and they become many times the audience of the future. If they don't become a musician of the future, they may become an audience member,
Absolutely.
which you need anyway, right?
It's very important.
And so they have so if they have a little bit of background, whatever it is, they could take that with them and say, oh yes, I know this I know what music is. I know about, well, like I had one kid who was in my children's choir thing at church, and later on, a few years later, he started playing percussion at school, and our music minister at the time was a percussionist, and he would. He taught our choir, obviously, but like every once in a while, he would play with us in the symphony if we needed extra percussion players, extra drummers. And so at one point, this little boy's, I guess grandmother took care of him, had him take lessons from our music minister, take percussion lessons. And so Larry was teaching him, some kind of rhythm or something like that. And this little boy said, oh yeah, I know that. And he goes, how do you know that? And he goes, I learned it from Miss Beth in her children's choir class. And I was like, oh. So any little thing that, that you can give them can stick with them. And so, in the going to the orchestra, they may or may not become musicians, but it's an experience that will stick with them.
Yeah.
And so they can,
I remember Mom used to take us to, they had certain, and it wasn't necessarily like a symphony or anything. The city had some program, and they put things, I remember it was at Pope Joy Hall, and Mom would always take us because she was there with other students, and so she would take us. And
she'd load up her back in the days before car seats. She'd load up the station wagon with kids from her school and us all crammed in there.
Anyway, that is where I was first exposed to the ballet. And so, fast forward many years, because I had enjoyed that experience, but it wasn't something that I thought, I need tickets to the ballet. A church friend of ours said, we have tickets to the Phoenix Ballet Nutcracker, and we can't go. Would you and Robert like to go? And Robert was in elementary school or early junior high. He was very young. Okay, that's not very young, but I mean, for the ballet, he was young. And I said, sure. And he was excited about going simply because it was something different, right? And when we got there, he's like, so tell me what this is. What do they, I said, well, they dance to certain music. And he goes, so is there words? I said, no. He goes, then how do they know what's going on? How do I know? I said, trust me, you will know what's going on. And he sat on the edge of his seat the whole time. He loved it. And one of his friends had asked him, what did you do last night or this weekend or whenever it was that we went? And he said, oh, we went to the ballet to see the Nutcracker. And he goes, poor you. And he goes, no, it was really good. And whether or not he ever goes again, he had that experience. And we've been to the Nutcracker because like Mark was playing or something like that. I still enjoy going. I still enjoy seeing it. But my first exposure was as a very young child. Yes, my parents were interested in exposing us to the arts in very many ways, but you never know when that is going to make a difference.
Well, sure, and just being exposed to the arts at all in any shape is enriches your life. It moves you beyond yourself, in my opinion, and helps you understand the world and understand, one of the things that the symphony did also last night was play Elgar's Nimrod variation.
Oh yeah.
As a tribute to what's going on in the Middle East, and a moment of silence. And so they also were exposed to, and what our CEO said is that words can't express, the horror of what's going on, but music can offer some solace. And so they also were exposed to that, into like music. Oh, one of the kids asked of the musicians, the kid that wants to be in the orchestra, wants to be a professional, he said that the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto, he goes, that's an emotional roller coaster. He goes, do you, speaking to the violinist that was talking to him, he goes, do you get emotional when you play? And he was like, absolutely, especially like tonight, because he felt so, what do you call it, invigorated by the soloist. He's like, I've seen a million soloists play this piece. Everybody plays it. You play it when you're a kid. He goes, but the way she interprets it is so amazing. He goes, you saw something really fantastic tonight. And he goes, and I just wanted to jump out of my seat, he said. So he goes, yeah, so it also realizing that not just watching a movie or a dumb video or whatever can cause you to think about your life and think about emotion, and it just adds a depth. Like he was telling them, you can play the notes, but you want to infuse music, and he was saying so many beautiful things to them, and I'm like, they have this outlet that they're participating in, just playing a little string reduction of Beethoven 5. But when they play it now, because when it started, they all looked at each other like, oh, this is, I mean, they knew what they were going to see and they knew they were going to recognize it, but to hear it so differently, I'm sure than, because it was a lot faster, and it was.
You mean kind of like the first time I heard a clarinet that I liked?
Yeah, exactly.
So the classes that I had to take before I adopted Robert were done by an organization that it no longer exists, but its whole effort was to get kids out of foster care into forever homes. And so the only thing I had to pay for was fingerprints or something. But they had these classes for us that weren't adoption classes. They were classes like to help you with children that have had some kind of trauma, or may have certain residual problems. And they had a woman there who was, her thing was art therapy for kids. They may not be able to articulate to you what's wrong, but they may be able to make a sculpture that kind of helps them express what they're feeling, or draw a picture, with certain colors and stuff. And so when I was working with CPAS, if I had behavioral people, highly behavioral people, when I could see that they were triggering, I sometimes went to them and said, I would like for you to paint right now, and I want you to pick colors that can express what you're feeling. Well, I don't know how to draw it. I said, I didn't say draw. I said, I don't care if you're putting blobs on the canvas.
I want to put blobs on a canvas.
Do you remember that picture of
that I bought?
Yeah, of Cassidy's?
I bought it.
She could be a behavioral person, but she couldn't understand certain things like that. But these were people that could kind of understand what I was talking about. The person that did the painting that she bought, she always painted in circles, and so all of her art is just a mass of circles in different colors. but it is, it's important in so many ways to especially like a school where they may not have the resources, their parents may not have the resources, or they may be in foster care, and those parents are, you know, doing the best they can to put food on the table, not necessarily, you know,
Right.
pay for other
Exactly.
things.
And so that's what we're really hoping, that they are able to come back, you know, for another, you know, $20. They can come here, and really those seats are good anywhere in the house. So, you know, it's really a great opportunity, and I'm so excited to have been a part of it. And it was kind of I mean, everybody helped me brainstorm about it, but it was kind of my baby, you know. So I felt really good about it.
You know, you were talking about the musicians in the program. I'm in the ASO programs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think a couple of times that I went, because I went to, we had at the time, a certain photographer in our, you know, photography studio.
Yeah.
And I went to the studio and did some headshots or whatever that they were going to use. And then like, so they featured me in one of those programs. And then like many years down the line, because we no longer had used that photographer, I think. But you know, all those things are put in a file somewhere, I thought.
Yeah.
And so they asked me if I had a headshot to use, you know, because they were going to feature me again or something.
Oh, huh.
And I'm
That's
like,
fun.
Shouldn't it be in a file
I'll
somewhere?
take
'Cause
pictures of myself.
I did one a long time ago for blah blah blah, you know, and I guess they couldn't find it or something.
Oh, no.
So they just took a little quickie, you know, snapshot kind of picture. I'm like, whatever. I'm not the one putting the program together, so.
Well, we have been talking a while,
Yes.
and Eve has to get ready for appointments.
Yes. And I'm going
I've
to
got a lot of
symphony
stuff-
tonight. So.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do today too.
Yes.
So we should go.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging out with us again. I cannot believe it's November. All you winners are going to get your things. Here they are, ready to mail out. And
Yes,
so,
and
yes.
we did get the emails with the mailing
yes.
addresses.
So thank you for that. And we're sorry we're a week late. It's mostly my fault.
Well, I know a lot of people who
No.
who do giveaways who like, I'm sorry, it's been several weeks since, you know. So we're, you know, we're in okay, good company.
We're in good
so.
company, I guess. But thanks for hanging out with us
Yes,
again, and we will
yeah.
see you next week. Hopefully this will be done. No, I'm just kidding. And here comes the dog here to say goodbye. Thanks so much. See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Oh, we're in the same-